So our lives, first of all, are affected by what we know. Second, our lives are affected by how we feel. Third, our lives are affected by what we do. It is so important to understand this. If you want to influence and help people, here's the key. Success is a doing. You've got to actually do it. Activity is high priority in the life process to try to get maximum benefit out of what we have available. Activity. Now, here's an important question. What is your philosophy about activity? What about hard work? What about long hours? What about full days? If you're doing something, how hard should you go at it? How much time should you put in? Everybody has to develop their philosophy about activity. Just by way of review, let me quote you. Old Testament says, 6 days activity, 1 day rest. That's called philosophy of ratio of activity. What is a good ratio of rest and activity? Old Testament says 6 days of one, 1 day of the other. You say, well, that's kind of old and outmoded. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe that's too old a philosophy. The old 6-1. I don't know. Who knows? Now, we've got it down to 5 and 2. Maybe 5 and 2 is okay. I don't know. If God would have thought of 5 and 2, he might have made it 5 and 2. Right? You can't think of everything when you're putting one of these together, I guess. Who knows? But we've all got to have a philosophy about activity. Because your philosophy of activity will affect the rest of your life. Not to think so is naive. I've got a good clue on rest. Make rest a necessity, not an objective. The reason for life is enterprise. The reason for life is productivity. The reason for life is to see what we can do with the seasons and the chances and our mind and our spirit, ourselves, to see what we can do. That's what life is all about, to see what you can do. Now, the doing, you've got to have a philosophy on how much time you're going to spend doing. And I've decided that enterprise is better than ease. If you rest too long, the weeds take the garden in the summer. So you can't rest too long. Life doesn't stand still. And the threat of life will start overwhelming the values of life if you just let it go. So we've all got to have a philosophy about activity. Let me give you one of the best I know. Here's what it says. An ancient phrase says, whatever your hands find to do it with all your might. That's a philosophy. You say, well, I'm getting by with half my might. Well, okay. But you've got to decide on your own personal philosophy of activity. Now, this philosophy says, do it with all your might. Do you think there's any value or virtue in that? Well, I don't know. You've got to decide. You've got to weigh this out, right? You've got to evaluate it for yourself and put it on your own mental scales, and you've got to come up with your own answers. How hard should you work? I'm teaching kids now the ant philosophy. The ant philosophy. An ancient story says everybody should study ants, especially lazy people. The ant philosophy. Let me give it to you. It's very brief. Number one, ants never quit. Good philosophy. If they're headed somewhere, you try to stop them, they'll look for another way. They'll climb over, they'll climb under, they'll climb around, they keep looking for another way. What a neat philosophy. Never quit looking for a way to get where you're supposed to go. Number two, ants think winter all summer. That's an important philosophy. You can't be so naive as to think summer all summer. You say, well, isn't it nice? You can't think nice when it's nice. We will call you naive. An ancient story says, don't build your house on the sand in the summer. Why would we be given that advice? Because it's easy to build your house on the sand in the summer, but you must not be so disillusioned. So ants are smart. They think winter all summer. In the summer, you got to think storm. You got to think rock. You can't think sand and sun. Key philosophy. Number three, ants think summer all winter. That's so important. I'm sure all winter long ants say, this won't last long, we'll soon be out here. What a neat philosophy, what a neat attitude. This won't last long, we'll soon be out of here. First warm day, the ants are out. First warm day, they're out. Now if it turns cold again, they'll dive back down, but first warm day, they're out. They can't wait to get out. What a neat philosophy. Can't wait to get at it. We teach in leadership skills. Average people look forward to getting off. Successful people look forward to getting on with it. The guy doesn't want off, he wants on. And that's what starts to transform his life, into the doing, into the activity. Now here's the last of the ant philosophy. How much will an ant gather during the summer to prepare for the winter? Answer, all he possibly can. What an incredible philosophy, the all you possibly can philosophy. How much should you do? You gotta come up with a philosophy of how much should you do. We're all governed by our thinking, our evaluation, what we've decided and how we feel, and this is a big question. What should you do? Shoaff gave me the best answer when I was 25 years old. Here's what he said. Do all you can. How many books should you read in the next 6 months? As many as you can fit into your schedule. Because the book you miss won't help. What if a guy missed the book, Think and Grow Rich? The guy's 40 and poor and he missed the book. He lived in the right country, but he missed the book. He was a nice guy, but he missed the book. He was very sincere, but he missed the book. He worked hard, but he missed the book. I'm telling you, if you miss the book, no telling what treasure will be missing in your life if you just miss the book. How hard should you work? The ant philosophy. The man says to me, I'm making about $50,000 a year. Isn't that enough? Now, what would be your philosophical answer to someone who says, I'm making $50,000 a year, isn't that enough? He said, my kids are doing okay, and he said, I got my bills paid. So what would you say if a guy says, I'm making $50,000 a year, isn't that enough? I said, yes, $50,000 a year is enough if it's the best you can do. We don't call enough an amount. We only call enough your best. If you're capable of making $500,000 a year and you make $50,000 a year, we call you loser. Now, it isn't the difference between $50,000 and $500,000 that's important. What's important is the full extent of your reach. That's what's important. The only way to feel maximum good about yourself is to extend yourself to the full capacity of your reach, your intellectual reach and your physical reach, and your potential and your possibility to do the best you can. What should you do? All you can. How many books should you read? As many as you can. How many skills should you learn? As many skills as you can. How many people should you touch? As many as you can. What all should you engage in? As many things as you can. Why not go to the max? I've got a good question for you. How tall will a tree grow? As tall as it can. Did you ever hear of a tree growing half as high as it could? No. Trees don't grow half. They grow all. Full. They drive their roots as deep as they can, stretch as high as they can, produce every leaf they can. Trees go to the max. Now, why would human beings settle for less than the max of their capacity? Simple answer. They have the power of choice to do so. It gives us the dignity of being human beings called the power of choice. So we've got a couple of choices. Let me give them to you. Here they are. To be all or to be part. Now, this is a philosophical discussion. You can choose to be less than you were designed to be, or you can choose to be all you were designed to be. I'm merely suggesting that you ponder what the all might do for your life in the next 1 year, 3 years, 5 years.
I don't need you to tell me how to act when I get healed. I need to teach me how to survive when I don't get healed. I don't need you to tell me how to shout when I got a new job, a new house, a new car. I got enough sense to be happy when things go right, but teach me how to be happy when all hell is breaking loose. Things are getting bad instead of better. Teach me how to stand when it's raining down on my face.
Do me a huge favor, stay thirsty. Stay thirsty, stay hungry. You want to kill an alligator, kill an alligator after he eats. They tell me that an alligator is at his worst point. Listen to me, he's most vulnerable when? After he's eaten. You heard what I said? After he eats that thing whole, right? Then he got to digest it. They say when he eats that whole thing, he's sitting there. That's when he's most vulnerable, when he's the slowest, when he's the slowest to respond. You want to kill an alligator, kill an alligator after he eats. And some of y'all have eaten and you ain't hungry no more. Some of y'all, you're a little too satisfied for me. And if you're going to get to that top level of greatness, you got to be hungry. Don't ever get satisfied. Don't ever get content. Don't ever get complacent, because the day you do, that's the day you go down here, all right? You like to talk about the grind, but you don't really know what the grind's like. You finally made it to the big league, and now you want to chill? Now you got the big head? Now you can't grind? You here now. You here now. You finally made it. And this is where you break up. This is where you start chilling. This is where you get comfortable. You in the big leagues now. They watching you now. This is where you make it permanent. No, practice don't make perfect. Practice make permanence. This is permanent, y'all. This is permanent. You can go wherever you want to go from here. I wish I could back off. I wish I could tell you something else. I wish I could tell you you tired, go take a break. I wish I could tell you tired, rest for a year. I wish I could tell you that it's going to get easier. I wish I could tell you it's going to get easier. I wish I could tell you that if you just keep going, it's going to get lighter. I wish I could tell you that, but that's not the truth. The truth is, you got to find something within. You got to find something within, and that's got to push you, and that's got to elevate you, and that's got to drive you, and that's got to move you. And when you find out what your why is, and your why got to be deeper than you, when you find your why, you find a way to make it happen. What you cannot do is you cannot quit during the process. You cannot give up. Champions keep going when they don't have anything left in their tank, when they don't have no more. When it's over, when they're tired, when they're frustrated, that's when they get started. So let me just say this to you. If it was easy, boo, everybody would be a national champion. Everybody would be a millionaire or a billionaire. Everybody's company would blow up. Everybody would get a 4-year degree, a master's degree. Everybody would have a medical degree or a PhD or a law degree if it was easy, but it ain't. You don't have to be talented. You don't have to be gifted. You don't have to be the quickest, the strongest. You don't have to be the most intelligent. You just got to grind, though. Your grind.
There's so much stuff you don't know in this world. It's like amazing. I was talking to somebody. I was at this meeting, right? I was a speaker at the SALT convention. There was a convention every year in Vegas called SALT.
You are a royal priesthood. Get where you belong. Do what you're supposed to do. Live like you're supposed to live.
Don't be naive in saying, well, this doesn't matter. I'm telling you, everything matters. There are some things that matter more than others, but there isn't anything that doesn't matter.
Most people are totally okay with decent, but I ain't talking about most people. I'm talking about you want to be a great one. You want to be great. Let me break it down to you. Listen to me. Are you only okay with excellence? Until excellence is the only option, we got something to work on. Until excellence is the only thing you'll settle for. We got work to do, my friend. Before you can be excellent, you must first see what excellence looks like. I want you to make a conscious decision that from this day forward, excellence will be the description of everything you do, like high performance and high achievement. It's just who you have become. You may feel that because you're feeling so much, you're so good, and you're so excellent at feeling, but you're not realizing that you're growing from your failures.
And it's a gathering of billionaires from around the world. They gather and they make decisions on what they're going to do. And I was a keynote speaker, and I told the guy when he asked me, I said, sir, I'm not a billionaire. Why are you having me speak? He said, we know exactly who you are. He said, but we're intrigued with your story, how you come from nothing to get to where you are. So why don't you just come share your story? So I'm out here and I'm talking to these billionaires. And it's amazing because, you know, the average billionaire in this world is a billionaire because they come from money. Most people that become billionaires don't come from the dirt. They inherit 200 million and they turn it into a billion. So they don't know what you know. They don't know shit about no hard days and no rough ass nights. And so
the problem with many of you is that you got fooled, you got complacent, you got lazy. Somewhere along the line, you lost your enthusiasm, your optimism. You lost your hunger.
High school teacher who one day changed my life. I was waiting on another student, and when he came in, he said to me, young man, go to the board and write what I'm about to tell you. And I said, I can't do that, sir. He said, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, it doesn't matter. Follow my directions now. I said, I can't do that, sir. He said, why not? I said, because I'm educable mentally retarded. And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality.
I was talking to them and they were fascinated. And after the thing was over, the billionaires were talking. There was a couple of young guys there. And this guy graduated from college and he said, yeah, I'm here to bring you all my talent to you all's attention. And he started talking. He says, yeah, I have a degree in this, that, and the other, and I have another degree, and I have 3 degrees, and that's what I do. And, you know, a couple of billionaires was there, was like real hustlers. And they said, well, so you have all these degrees, so what are you offering? Well, if I need to, I'll go back to school and get another degree. He said, if you have 3 degrees and they're not working, why would you go get another one of them? And I just looked at him and I went, wow. Because when you talk to them dudes that make that other kind of money, they're not interested in your degree. They don't need a degree. If they need a degree, they'll hire somebody with one. But if you're really interested in being successful, it's not your education that's gonna make you successful.
And as he talked, my heart began to beat fast. Tears began to run by my eyes, and I was in the back just listening to him, because the speech he was giving, that speech was for me. And he said, Les Brown, he said, if you want to do anything worthwhile in life, you've got to be hungry.
And what we said to each other is, I can get through this. I will get through this. I must get through this. So I just need you to think about 3 people in your family that you love. 3 people. 3 people that you love. 3 people. You got them? They're there? You got them? This is what I need you to do for me. Because some of you have a hard time staying motivated for a straight 100 days. So what I need you to do for me is I need you to think about those people every day when you're doing what you're doing. Do you have some days where you just want to hit the snooze button? Raise your hand for me. You want to hit the snooze button, right? So watch this. This is what has to happen. That person that you think about has to be louder than the snooze button. So when you think about Granny, you got to think about, do I hit the snooze button or do I get up and make it happen for Granny? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Who are you doing this for?
You're becoming more powerful, you are educating yourself, you are realizing that your excellence is being nourished, it's gonna get stronger, you are planning to see. I'm letting you know right now that you are a possible individual, you are a possible being, you are a possible reality. And this is the time for you to recognize that. Don't stop now, don't give up on now, find the way that you are recognizing within yourself and build on it. Just like clay, you must shape it, you must mold it. And you must make it a masterpiece. How many times have you said you couldn't do it?
Okay. We all pity the man who says, well, this is the only place I let down. Not true. Key to take home. Every letdown affects the rest of your performance. Every letdown affects the rest. This is part of the educational process on personal development. If you don't take the walk around the block, you probably won't do the apple a day. If you don't do the apple a day, you probably won't start building your library. If you don't build your library, you probably won't keep a journal, and you won't take pictures, and then you won't do this, you won't do wise things with your money, won't do wise things with your time, won't do wise things with your possibilities and relationships, and the first thing you know, 6 years of that accumulated, and we say you have messed up.
If you put as much time into working on winning as you put into thinking about losing, you'd already be a champion. When we gonna get tired of just knowing and seeing successful people and become one of them? Time is out to sit up here and just make these average decisions, make these irrelevant decisions that don't change you, don't change your family, don't change society, don't change your environment, don't change the world. It's time to make decisions that make you a legend. We see it every day. But the only difference, baby, you gonna make a choice to just be remembered, or you gonna make a choice to become a legend. You gotta stop quitting. We gotta stop giving up. All this TGIF, TGIF. It is now TGIA. Thank God I'm alive. When we open our eyes and we're in our right mind, we live as though we really appreciate that opportunity.
How many times did you say that you didn't have the strength? How many times? How many more times? When is enough going to be enough? When are you going to rise up and realize your true potential? When are you going to commit to your real truth? Because your words matter. Keep it moving, be productive, be powerful, and from the bottom of my heart, conduct. Your business, this is it, your journey, can be seen millions and millions of miles away in everything that you think. Therefore, you shall be greater than your fears.
So the whole key to reversing that process now is to start picking up these disciplines. Now here's the positive side. Every new discipline affects the rest of your disciplines. Every new one affects the rest. Why action is so important. The least action, the smallest action. Take it. When you start accomplishing and the value starts to return from that one accident, it'll inspire you to do the next one and the next one and the next one. You start walking around the block, it'll inspire you to get an apple. Get an apple, it'll inspire you to get a book. Get a book, it'll inspire you to get a journal. Get a journal, it'll inspire you to grow, develop some skills. All disciplines affect each other. Every lack affects the rest. Every new affects the rest. The key is to diminish the lack and set up the new. And you've started a whole new life process. Key. Also, one more thought on discipline. Here's the greatest value of discipline. Self-worth. Self-esteem.
And every time I see a post, every time I see a tweet, or just anything, I want to ask the person, why are you thanking God it's Friday? Hello, newsflash. Tomorrow is Saturday. The day after that is Sunday. The day after that is Monday. What are you thanking God it's Friday for? Because you're preparing to quit. You're preparing to stop what you're doing. You're prepared to clock out. You're prepared to go home. And you're in the mental mindset for do nothing. I dare you to get prepared for the challenges of your life by getting rid of comfort. I dare you. I dare you when you find that job that if you don't arrive to work that you want, and then when you get there, you take the stairs. I dare you not to take the break, baby. I dare you to work through your lunch. I dare you when it's hot that you work fast, when it's cold you work longer. I dare you to learn something new today that you didn't know yesterday. I dare you to.
Be stronger than your doubts because your mind is very powerful music. Stop being sorry and start doing better. Better within you, better than anyone has ever seen. Better than your mistakes, better than your failures, better than those that doubted you. Lift yourself up, stop with the excuses, stop doing things that you know that is not right, doing all the things that will make you better. Depends on how you think, how you feel, what you do. How you perceive, there are going to be times that you're going to want to give up, but you don't have the permission to do so. You must carry on the good fight.
We are not made to survive, we're made to thrive. Human beings, our spirit, our capacity to adapt, our ability to grow, our ability to learn with lightning-like speed, our ability to find a way to serve others, that calling inside of us that we have as a parent or as a friend or someone who truly cares, when we put our fear aside because there's something we want to serve greater than ourselves, we all have that ability to find that passion in our life.
The tuning world is all about the predictable. It's all about predicting the future. But the quantum model of reality is about causing an effect. The moment you start feeling abundant and worthy, you are generating wealth. The moment you're empowered and feel it, you're beginning to step towards your success. The moment you start feeling whole, your healing begins. And when you love yourself and you love all of life, you'll create an equal. Now you're causing an effect. And I think that's the difference between living as a victim in your world, saying, I am this way because of this person or that thing or this experience. They made me think and feel this way. When you switch that around, you become a creator of your world, and you start saying, my thinking and my feeling is changing an outcome in my life. And now that's a whole different game, and we start believing more that we're creators of reality.
A lot of people start out with a new year and it becomes a trigger for, a possibility of a new life. But that disappears after a few disappointments, after coming up with a few New Year's resolutions that within a week or two they've already broken. I'm here to talk to you about just the simple core of what you and I are made for. We are not made to survive. We're not made to manage our pain or get through it. We're made to be creators of our lives. We can create anything we can dream about, we can create. And I know that sounds like positive thinking, just BS. But in your soul, there have been times in your life, I know, when you've had something that you wanted so much. Maybe you wanted something for someone you care about. Maybe you wanted something for yourself. But you became so obsessed with something, achieving it, experiencing it, whether it was a transformation, in yourself, a change in your business, making a certain amount of money, getting a job, increase of some position, increase. Maybe it was doing something for your mom or your dad or your kids. Somewhere in your life, you've gotten obsessed enough to really want to create something, and you may not even know how you were going to do it, but you just wanted it, desired it, and you started all of a sudden taking action, and you got insights, and before you knew it, what used to be just this impossible dream became a reality. Is it fair to say that at some stage in your life that there are some things today in your life that were once just a dream or a goal, that once seemed difficult or impossible, whether it be the job you have or the relationship you're in and might be taking for granted. Is there anything in your life today that was once like that? Well, then you and I are creators. And very often when we get overwhelmed by so many things and we feel out of control by, we start getting into being managers of our life, managing our pain, managing through the situation.
If you're not being defined by a vision of the future, then you're left with the old memories of the past and you will be predictable in your life. And if you wake up in the morning and you're not being defined by a vision in the future, as you see the same people and you go to the same places and you do the exact same thing at the exact same time, it's no longer that your personality is creating your personal reality. Now your personal reality is affecting or creating your personality. Your environment is really controlling how you think and feel unconsciously, because every person, everything, every place, every experience has a neurological network in your brain. Every experience that you have with every person produces an emotion. So some people will use their boss to reaffirm their addiction to judgment. They'll use their enemy to reaffirm their addiction to hatred. They'll use their friends to reaffirm their addiction to suffering. So now they need the outer world to feel something. So to change then is to be greater than your environment, to be greater than the conditions in your world. And the environment is that seductive. So then, why is meditation the tool? Well, let's sit down, let's close our eyes. Let's disconnect from your outer environment. So if you're seeing less things, there's less stimulation going to your brain. If you're playing soft music or you have earplugs in, less sensory information coming to your brain, so you're disconnecting from your environment. If you can sit your body down and tell it to stay like an animal, stay right here. I'm going to feed you when we're done. You can get up and check your emails. You can do all your texts, but right now, you're going to sit there and obey me. So then, when you do that properly, and you're not eating anything or smelling anything or tasting anything, you're not up experiencing and feeling anything, you would have to agree with me that you're being defined by a thought, right? So when the body wants to go back to its emotional past, and you become aware that your attention is on that emotion, and where you place your attention is where you place your energy, you're siphoning your energy out of the present moment into the past, and you become aware of that. And you settle your body back down in the present moment, because it's saying, well, it's 8 o'clock. You normally get upset because you're in traffic around this time. And here you are sitting, and we're used to feeling anger, and you're off schedule. Oh, it's 11 o'clock, and you usually check your emails and judge everybody. Well, the body's looking for that predictable chemical state. Every time you become aware that you're doing that, and your body is craving those emotions, and you settle it back down into the present moment, you're telling the body it's no longer the mind, that you're the mind. And now your will is getting greater than the program. And if you keep doing this over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, just like training a stallion or a dog, it's just going to say, I'm going to sit. And the moment that happens, and the body's no longer the mind, when it finally surrenders, there's a liberation of energy. We go from particle to wave, from matter to energy, and we free ourselves from the chains of those emotions that keep us in the familiar past. And we've seen this thousands of times. In fact, we can actually predict it now on a brain scan.
There are many ways to get the things that we want for ourselves in our lives. But basically, it all begins with how we choose to think. As you think, so shall you be. 7 little words that I think are perhaps the most important things that we can learn and master in our lives. This old proverb notion that I become what I think about all day long. And once you know that what you think about is what expands, you start getting real careful about what you think about. You don't allow your thoughts to be on anything that you don't want, or that you wouldn't want to have manifest or show up for you in your life.
Why would a city known for its great economy, over all these years go bankrupt? Why would they go bankrupt? Unwise decisions that probably started years before. Why would a family choose to buy a house that they know that they cannot afford, but they're going to buy it anyway? Unwise decision. Why would a person marry just for sexual fulfillment, not thinking about other things? Unwise decision. Why would a person drink alcoholic beverage in front of their children early in life, leaving them an image of their dad, sometimes being drunk, thinking nothing of the consequence? Very unwise decision. When you think about the kind of life that you're living, would you say that the decisions that you're making are wise or unwise? And we could go through life thinking about all the decisions that people make. For example, they stack up credit on their credit cards to the point that they know they can't make the payments. Why do they do that? Unwise decisions. Before you make any decision, you should always ask this question. Is this the wisest thing to do? There's always an answer. Is this the wisest thing to do? Whether it's marriage or whether it's something financial or health or whatever it might be, is this the wisest thing to do? That's always the right question. Whether it's major or minor, is this the wisest thing to do? But living wisely is the best life. Wisdom is a gift from God. Living unwisely is a very expensive lifestyle to every aspect of our life.
Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what's using my life? I heard a guy give a lecture one time that says, we are today what we were when. And he was talking about the fact that we, to a great extent, behave, think, react because of some previous experience that we've had. One of the things that we know about life is that it is always changing. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go real well, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. Now that's that thing called life. And when we begin to understand and know that, accepting that reality that we will never ever have things just on an even keel all the time, that you're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. But during those down moments, that's where the growth takes place. That's where the work is. See, anybody can feel good when they have their health, their bills are paid, they have happy relationships, the children are acting normal, business is successful. Anybody could be positive then. Anybody can have a larger vision then. Anybody can have faith under those kinds of circumstances. Am I correct? See, but the real challenge of growth, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, comes when you get knocked down. Somebody said that adversity introduces a man to himself or a woman. How you handle it, that's where the growth takes place. When I was facing some challenges, I had a guy say something to me, and I suggest this is one of the first things that you want to do when you're facing a challenge. You want to get unstuck. Evaluate where you are. Look at it. Assess yourself. Assess yourself and assess the situation. What brought you there? What role did you play? Earl Nightingale had a saying I like. He said, all of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. has brought you to this point, what did you learn from it? Are you learning anything, or are you doing it over and over and over again? Somebody said that insanity is doing the same thing in the same way, expecting a different outcome. Are you going through it, or are you growing through it? Are you bigger and better because of it? Because it's not going to leave you until you grow through it. I was going through a major challenge in my life that was wearing me out, that was using me. And one of my students told me in a class that I was teaching, Lessons in Truth, she said, Les, until you handle it with grace, it will stay in your face. And it stayed there a long time.
Let me show you this. We all live inside a bubble, right? This is our world. We go to church here, we work over here, we go get our coffee over here, we go to this park over here, we usually go over here to, hang out with friends. This is our favorite club. This is our world. This is our favorite spot on the beach. We all live in this bubble. What you gotta do to get the life that God wants you to have, you gotta put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful. Start putting some pressure on. Put some pressure on yourself. Get out here and get about it. Look, I'd love to sugarcoat this thing for you. I'd love to tell you, look, you can go out here and get rich, do a couple of things. They ain't happening. You got to get real doggish. You got to get downright funky if you want to make it. Now, like I was telling you before, if you want to be ordinary, you ain't even got to listen to me. Just go on about your business. If you think ordinary's cool, ain't no problem. It's some really, really wonderful ordinary people. But if you are sitting in this room and you have extraordinary aspirations, then you're going to have to do extra. You put extra on top of ordinary, and you come up with extraordinary. There's no other way. I'm sorry, but here's the fact. All of you have extraordinary capabilities. All of you. You have to decide if you're willing to do the things to put you in that category. Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. That's a third of your life. It ain't but 24 hours in a day. You cannot be asleep 8 hours a day. You can't live in LA and wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. The stock market been open 2 hours. They already making decisions about your life, and your ass was asleep. The Bible says, he who loves to sleep and the folding of hands, poverty will set upon you like a thief in the night. He who loves to sleep and the folding of hands, poverty will set upon you like a thief in the night. I'm going to ask you one question, I'm going to go. How many of you in here know somebody who loves to sleep? Who knows somebody that loves to sleep? Let me ask you something. AJ Poe? You don't have to force yourself or motivate yourself to think negatively, to be depressed, to hate somebody, to want revenge, to want to get back at somebody, to beat yourself up over the head, to feel loaded with guilt. You don't have to make any effort to do that. Your mind is on automatic. It will do that by itself. But if you want to begin to move into your own personal greatness, if you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back, and I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration. This is what you stand for.
You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have it. It's not going to be easy. When you want to change, it's not easy. If it were in fact easy, everybody would do it. But if you're serious, you'll go all out. So yes, I'm going to turn this situation around. I'm not going to sit back and moan and cry over what happened and what went wrong and who did what. I'm going to do something about this situation. The next thing that is important is that expect things to get better for you, because they are. See, life is cyclic. You're not, whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. Not to stay, just to pass. It's just going through. The biggest challenge is to know what's happening. This is a part of this thing we call life. This too shall pass. And maintaining perspective, putting it in perspective. See, a lot of us, because of our limited vision of ourselves, a lot of us who begin to focus on problems and enable them to overwhelm us, we begin to think that we have no options. We begin to believe that there's no way out. Repeat after me, there's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Shake somebody's hand on your right or left and say, I'm unstoppable. And make those kind of declarations to yourself. I'm unstoppable. This will not get me down. And if I get knocked down, I'm going to be like Leo Pascal. You said you're going to have some low moments in life, but when you do, you will have high lows. When you work on yourself. What are some of those things that you can do during this period of time? Go for walks. Do some things for you. Just go for a stroll so you can engage in some reflective thinking on life, on yourself, looking and enjoying the universe, smelling the roses along the way. Listen to upbeat music, music that inspires you. I have oldie but goodies. I have strategies that I engage in to recharge my batteries. I'm preparing for that because I know things are going to happen that I cannot anticipate. A very good friend of mine died the other day. I had a program for myself. I have books that I read that inspire me, tapes that I listen to that fire me up. Because you're going to have sometimes low moments when you won't want to get out of bed. You just want to stay there. At times you won't want to come out the house. At times you'll be feeling bad and don't know why. What's wrong? I don't know. Just leave me alone. Why did that happen? I don't know. It's called life. The other thing is take full responsibility for your life. Accept where you are and the responsibility that you're going to take yourself where you want to go. Someone said we have two primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem. Every time you see them, they'll tell you their story over and over and over and over again. No, no. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim. You're in the process of reinventing your life. Write a description of the kind of person that you want to be. What are the things that you must overcome? What qualities about your personality you know that you're going to have to change because those particular characteristics are liabilities to you? What are your assets? What are your strong points? Look at and evaluating yourself to make that determination.